Born Primitive Outdoor is proud to partner with Montana Knife Company, Marsupial Gear, Evolution Outdoors, Sheep Feet, and Capture Gear. Thanks for tuning in, and thanks to our sponsors. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Born Primitive Outdoor podcast. It is... holy shit, it's February 1st, and it was 50-some degrees today. But I just got back from trying to fish in the canyon, and I had gotten a message from my current guest, I don't know, was it a month ago?
Yeah, about a month ago.
About his story of his Alaskan adventure, which was not a good adventure, it sounds like, but he has only briefed me on the story. So, Justin, and how do you pronounce your last name?
It's Birthisel.
Oh, yeah, I would have fucked that up. Birthisel?
Yep, Birthisel.
Yep. Okay, so Justin Birthisel, and you're from West Virginia originally, and you moved to Wyoming. But tell everybody just a little bit about yourself, and then we'll go into your story on the moose hunt.
Yeah, sure. So name's Justin. Grew up in West Virginia 8 years ago. Decided to move out west because I got tired of driving 26, 30 hours to come kill elk, and been loving it since. Just hunting and fishing, whatever trips my trigger that day or that year. Mule deer, Montana, here, there, yonder. Shot a couple bears, plenty of elk.
So did you hunt since you were a kid in West Virginia?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the standard redneck. Here's a pellet gun, shoot everything with a pulse and eat it.
So you can actually hunt. Yeah. Well, the guys that start late, nothing against them, but I posted a meme thing where it said, how'd you get so good at hunting? And it was a red rider and a Tweety bird.
Exactly.
But you guys squirrel hunt like a son of a bitch out there. You have like competitions there, don't you?
Usually the ones with the biggest nuts.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. My buddy I just had on the podcast, Cody Greenwood, he's in Kansas. He said there it's $10,000 a pot, and you shoot 6 squirrels, and the weight is how it's decided, and you get 3 extra ounces if you shoot them in the head for accuracy. Okay. And I'm like, I might become a professional squirrel hunter for $10,000 a pot. But everybody I've ever met from West Virginia is pretty freaking resourceful, that were, kind of raised the same way you were. Like you don't get that in every state, I guess. So when you moved out here, like easy transition, rude awakening, like how did it go?
It seemed like a slower pace of life. I don't know, just...
That is a fact.
It's like stepping back in time. I didn't have much then. I had a girlfriend, and we loaded up a horse trailer and moved out here. I got a job that paid the bills, and we just kind of figured it out. I'd honestly never been to Douglas or Wyoming, period, just Montana and Colorado, and found a company willing to hire me. They flew me to Louisiana for a training, and then the secretary, picked it up. The dude that hired me quit. So I got the job offer, great. I quit my job. I went to Colorado, scouted elk for 2 weeks, flew back, and I didn't have anything. So I started calling, and I couldn't get this guy to answer the phone. And then Monday rolls around. Yeah, oh yeah. I'm like, dude, I quit my job. I don't have anything. And a gentleman named Steve called me, which was actually this guy's boss. And he's like, hey, Justin, where you at? I'm like, waiting on you guys to call me. He's like, oh yeah, by the way, Blake quit. I need you to jump on a plane and fly to Louisiana. I was like, okay, great. So
they were cool about it, though?
Yeah, Steve's pretty cool about it. And the secretary is the one that picked it up, and she's like, hey, where's Justin? He's supposed to be here. She picked me up at the Casper airport. She's like, do you need anything? I was like, blow up mattress, sheets, a pillow. And we drive to Douglas. She goes, I live right here. I'll see you on Monday. Hang on. Where's the office? Where do we meet? She's like, I'll meet you right here at this gas station Monday at 6:30. And they just turned me loose with a company truck. I went to the trailer park, got a trailer to rent.
Yeah.
Went to the store, bought a 6-pack of beer, and I was like, hey, look, I made it.
Oh, shit. How quick before you got all your stuff kind of set up and everything?
Yeah, years.
Yeah, it took a while.
It's always growing, but I worked for a couple of weeks, and then I went back to West Virginia, loaded a horse trailer with all of our stuff, and moved out here, me, the girlfriend, 2 dogs.
Now, are you still with her now?
Yep, okay, she's my wife now. We got 2 kids.
And then, so I'm assuming that you moved out of the trailer park, or did you stay there if you brought horses and everything?
Yeah. So the wife got a job in Casper, and we moved to Casper. She's a nurse. She has to be within 30 minutes for on call.
And you're about 30 minutes anyway from Casper where you're at working?
Yeah, Douglas is 45 minutes.
Not horrible.
Yeah, it's like door to door, but found a house with 6 acres and just started expanding.
All right, so starting the story of your hunt. So, so you had basically used one of the kind of drop camp services for your moose hunt in Alaska.
Yeah, a hunt planner.
Okay, because people ask me about these all the time, and I'm not overly familiar with them in the sense of like I've used them a ton myself or whatever. But how that works, as I understand it, and is they will give you kind of the info of who to use for a flight, where to get dropped off, where you float to, like the whole thing is what they're supposed to be doing is they plan your hunt for you.
Yeah, I would say that's correct. I feel like there's two different categories of drop camp hunting, like the guys that provide everything. You just show up, the tent's there, the boat's there, whatever they have. And then the hunt planner, we got an email, hey, you're going to pay this flight in, this air service for the flight in, you're going to pay this for the flight out, you're going to fly to here, you're going to float 80 miles and get picked up.
Gotcha. So you used Pristine Ventures, Larry Bartlett?
That's correct.
Okay. So how did that process go in the beginning? Like, did you just Google and search and found him from that?
So I went to Alaska on my first trip with some friends in 2022, and we did a DIY float then. But we did a real prominent river. It was like a road-to-road float. So I was excited going to Alaska to kill a moose, and then you see 50 people a day, 7 campfires in the distance, hear chainsaws.
Yeah.
And it wasn't exactly what I was looking for. I did kill a 62-inch moose that trip, but, we floated 60 miles out of there with the moose, and everybody's like, that's the first moose we've seen. I was like, oh, well.
Just got lucky. And
super lucky.
Yeah, gotcha. So when you booked with Larry, how many, you and...
Yeah, so it was supposed to be me and 2 friends, Tom and Rich, in the beginning. Tom's the one that actually spurred it on. He wanted to go up there and kill caribou. So we started looking, Googling, and I found his float dragging Alaska. I was like, oh, awesome. This sounds great. Nobody's here. I think he says terra incognito, places untraveled. People don't go there. And it seemed like there was that physical barrier, just like we have here. Once you hike in so far, there's nobody there. So him putting distance between where you get dropped off and where you can actually hunt, it seems to really knock down the people that show up. So
how early was this I say early, but did you booked what, months early, a
2
year?
years.
Okay, so you booked quite a ways before.
Yeah, that was his first availability 2 years after we booked.
Gotcha. So how did that process go? Like, does he just send you a map? Like, do you converse back and forth, or was it kind of limited information? And again, answer this as thorough as you can, because this will answer questions for people that pester me that I don't have the answers for. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So we kind of decided, Larry, I talked to him. He's like, yeah, I can have a spot. We wanted to go kill a moose, maybe 2 moose, and then kill probably 3 caribou. Tom wanted to kill a caribou. And then we paid Larry like January of 22 for his services. He's like, great, I got you guys booked. And then it just goes quiet. And I'm a super analytical person. I like to look at maps. I like to plan A, B, C, D. Something's going to happen. And I was like, hey, Larry, where are we talking about going? He's like, oh, we're talking about going to this creek. And I was like, hey, can you send me some maps? Yeah, and I get all the topo maps. And then it's just quiet. And I was like, oh, man, I get it. He's probably busy with like year 22 clients and then year 23 clients and year 24 clients. Mm-hmm. And, I bet it'll just get way better come my year.
Yeah.
So I just kind of left it there. I mean, I had the spot, I had a confirmation email. I had some maps to look over, so I knew where we were going. And I just kind of left it at that. Well, at some point, Tom backed out. It was his 25-year anniversary. So Tom wasn't going. It was just me and Rich. I was like, okay, I called Larry. I said, hey, we really want to kill 2 moose. Like, that's the prime goal, is to kill moose. Caribou, cool. We're already there. Tags are relatively cheap compared to all the logistics that go in one of these hunts. So he flipped us rivers. No big deal. And then it just went quiet again. And fast forward to December of last year, or December of 23, because we went, what is it, 2026 now? So
did you go in 25?
I went in 25.
Okay, so December 24.
Yeah, like December of 24. Well, I know all the standard air charters up there start booking as soon as the draw routes come out.
Early,
December 10th or whatever. So I'm pinging him. I'm like, hey, do I need to be calling air charters? Do I need to be setting anything up? And he's like, oh, I'm finalizing everything. I'll send you an email. And sometime in December, we got an email. Here's your hunt packet. It's like a pre-put together generic email. You're going to pay Shadow Aviations this much money to fly you in. You're going to pay Right Air Service this much money to fly you out. You need to be in Alaska this day. Shadow will fly you in here. And It was like an overview of the river. Here's what it's like. It's a pull riffle. You're going to drag. Plan to spend 3 to 6 days dragging your boat down the creek to get to the river where you're going to start moose hunting. But we'll get more into the creek and river later.
Gotcha. Okay, so then when you flew in, did you go into Anchorage?
Fairbanks.
Okay, so you went into Fairbanks, and then, they fly straight in. What am I thinking? So how did that process go? You brought all your own gear except the raft.
Yes.
Okay, and then when you land in Fairbanks, does he pick you up, or or do you get a?
No, you're like all on your own.
Okay, gotcha.
The email was about the end of Larry. If you have questions, he's more than happy to answer them. But I expected to pay a hunt planner to fill in all the blanks.
Yeah.
Because you don't know the questions you need to ask until you've been there and done that. And I hunt a lot here, but I don't know diddly about Alaska.
Yeah, it's daunting if you haven't. I mean, once you've become kind of a world traveler, it gets a little bit easier. But I mean, when I'm not speaking for this, just in general.
Yeah. When
I show up somewhere now and I've never been there, I'm not as nervous. I've gotten used to packing. When I say that, also some of it's schedule too. Like I have a fairly unlimited schedule,
Mm-hmm.
so fuck it, I'm a few days late. It doesn't matter. Where when you have a what I'd say a real job, like it's daunting to make sure you get there in time and you get the most out of those days.
Yep.
And then come back. So, and I mean, on the guide side of things, we get hounded a lot for the same stuff, right? I mean, obviously, when I say gear lists, right, like what's the terrain, I don't give out where they're going early because that's bad business because I'm guiding you,
Sure.
right? But when you're the one guiding yourself, that's a little bit different story. So, so at this point, and again, obviously, we didn't get to talk too much about this. At this point, were you still feeling pretty confident everything was going to be good, or were you nervous?
Yeah, I mean, I assumed everything would be great. All I really needed was a spot.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got the skills. We've got all our gear, so I wasn't too worried about any of that. In that email we got, we were shooting for like 12 to 15 days. I always like to put more time on a hunt because you don't know when you're going to kill the first animal. I understand that once one's dead, you have this limited window to get back to civilization. So we got the email, and it was like a 9-day hunt. I was like, oh, that's pretty short, because in the email it also stated that the 25-mile creek might take us 6 days to walk down because there wouldn't be water in it. So I called Shadow Aviations. I was like, hey, how early can you fly us in? I called Right Air Service. How late can you fly us out? Which season ended the 25th. They picked us up like the 23rd or something. So wasn't a lot of wiggle room there. But Shadow Aviation said, oh, we can fly you in a couple of days early. And that gave us 18 days. I was like, well, that's pretty good. We could fumble down the creek for 6. We still have 12 to hunt.
Yeah.
We'll do that. So we actually booked with which I guess I called Larry, and he's like, yeah, you just have to work that out with the pilots. So that's when I took over and talked to the pilots. We got 18 days. Great. Hit the ground in Alaska and took off from the airport. I don't want to say the trip went south from the airport, but it started at the airport.
Yeah. So what? Now keep in mind, as I'm as blind as all of you listening to this, so I'm curious how this goes because you briefed me for about 60 seconds on the moose part of this. Which I won't even talk about that. So when it started to go down, when you say down from the airport, what happened?
Yeah, we flew into Fairbanks, got there at like 1:45 in the morning, and this was just bad planning on our part. We didn't want to get a hotel room because hotel rooms in Fairbanks are $300 a night, and we just decided, well, we got to pack bags. We can just hang out, and we'll just load all of our bags in a parking lot somewhere. We'll get our renter car, go to like Walmart and unload bags, reload dry bags, take an hour nap, and then take off. So we get to the airport. It's 1:45, 2 o'clock. We get our luggage. I'm like, let's just go pack here. Like, it's raining outside. We'll put everything in dry bags, then we can pitch them in the back of the truck. No big deal. We go over to the corner. We unpack all of our suitcases, luggage, put it in dry bags, and Rich goes to get the rental car. 2:45 in the morning, nobody's at the rental desk.
Yeah.
They're there for 30 minutes after the flight, and then they leave. So now we're stranded at the airport for the next 4 hours till they show up at 6:30.
Yeah.
And we found a bench, took a nap. Some police officer woke us up and told us we were sleeping in the wrong port of the airport. So we had to shuffle all our stuff down to the other end of the airport. And then we just hung out till 6 a.m. A lady showed up at the rental desk. So Rich goes over to get the car. She's like, oh, I'm sorry. I can't let you have your rental car till 6:30. I'm locked out at my computer. Well, of course, we didn't have anything else to do, so we just stood there and lingered like a bad fart.
Yeah.
And at 6:28, she's like, okay, I can let you have your car early. I'm like, oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
Oh,
but
Lord.
Then she gives us a rental car, and we took off, went to breakfast, shot Larry a text. I was like, hey, we're in town. We didn't have any plans of meeting up. Like, there was never he just texted us that our boats were at Shadow Aviation's, which was the only thing we needed from him.
Yeah.
So I texted him, hey, we're going to breakfast if you want to sit down and talk. And he's like, oh, okay, great, I'll meet you there. So we went to the cookie jar, got some breakfast. Larry shows up. We just shoot the breeze. He asked a couple last-minute questions like, do you guys got everything? I was like, I guess. We didn't have a gear list, so we just packed what we needed, and we were limited to 700 pounds to fly in.
Yeah.
Raft, 18 days of food. That's not a lot of spares.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, are you going out this year? He goes, no, all my spots are flooded. And in my little pea brain, that meant maybe the sandbars were underwater.
Yeah, yeah.
And we were landing on a lake. So I was like, well, that doesn't affect us at all. Okay, cool, great. And then our pilot actually showed up, or he was there eating breakfast, talked to Larry. Me and Rich finished. I was like, okay, we're leaving. And that's when we parted ways. So we just ran around, picked up our fuel, which is about the only thing we needed. Burned quite a few hours because our check-in at the hotel was like 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
But we were bored, wanted a shower, so we stopped over at like 11 a.m. And the lady's like, well, I'm not supposed to, but I can let you have your room early for $70. So we checked in, and then we unloaded our rifle cases. That was the only thing I didn't want to do at the airport was pull out my firearm and flag it everywhere.
Yeah.
So we got all our bags packed, took some showers, and then we headed over to Shadow Aviation's to weigh everything in. Weighed everything great. We're 680 pounds, 20 under the limit. And I was like, hey, can we leave some of our stuff here, like our suitcases? We don't clearly need those on the trip. And he's like, no, I won't be in town. You'll have to take them over to Wright Air Service. So we zip over to Wright Air Service. They're like, yeah, great, go leave them upstairs. Here, put a tag on it. We throw our tags on our suitcases and pitch them upstairs in a big pile. And we come back down, and I'm like, hey, could you tell me exactly where we're getting picked up? Because in that pre-generated email, there were 3 GPS coordinates for sandbars, and they're like 12 miles apart.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, this is probably pretty serious. Like, I got to know where to get picked up by this airplane. And she's like, oh, yeah, of course. So she brings it up on there, and she brings up our flight plan, which it's 250 miles from Fairbanks to the Brooks Range.
Yeah.
And that's what she's looking at. And she's like, yeah, it looks like you're getting picked up right here. I was like, yeah, I know that. Can you tell me which sandbar? And like she studies the map, and there's a dot on Fort Yukon.
Yeah.
Which is 100 miles south of where we're at. And she's like, oh, you get picked up in Fort Yukon. I'm like, no, that's a shuttle spot. Oh, okay, well, I'm not real sure. Okay, great. So we don't even know exactly where to get picked up. And we're flying out the next morning.
Yeah.
But we left without any answers and went back to the hotel, showered, whatever, and took off over to Shadow Aviation's in the morning.
So did was there a grid coordinate for the sandbar?
Yes, there was 3 different grid coordinates for sandbars.
Okay, and they would have picked you up on any one of those 3, and then you told them which one you were at?
Yeah, see, I don't know. There was just like, here's your pickup location, and then there would be a grid coordinate. I'm like, great. So I put that in Onyx, save it, and then I read down through the email, and it's got the maps. Well, then the maps have like pickup location, pin GPS, pin GPS, pin GPS. So I'm assuming there's like multiples depending on whatever the river's done that year.
Yeah.
And it did state in there to please check with the pickup air service, and they'll let you know what they're using that year.
Yeah.
So that's what I was trying to clarify right, and the lady at the desk had no idea.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, so you don't really know where you're going to stop. Tell me about the start. Where you?
Yeah, absolutely. So the next morning we head over to Shadow Aviation's. We put our last-minute things like toothbrushes in our bags and loaded it in the bed of the truck. It's like 100 yards down to the pond where the plane is.
Now, I'm telling you, pay attention to this because this is something I could see her wanting to do.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So we got the truck loaded, and I'm just going to walk down to the plane. I don't need to jump in this dude's truck for 100 yards. And I'm like halfway down his driveway, and there's a road and then a runway and then the pond. And he yells out, he's like, hey, that's a runway down there. Make sure you look both ways. And I just laughed. I was like, I don't know. I haven't been to Alaska. Maybe getting hit by a bush plane is like a common thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so we get down there. We get to the dock. We unload the truck. And he's like, all right, I need your light bags. Well, we didn't organize our dry bags in light and heavy for the plane. We just organized. I keep like a tent bag. Everything that goes in the tent stays in X dry bag, and you don't open this dry bag unless you're in the tent.
Yeah.
So then we yard sell everything on the boat dock, start cramming sleeping bags, puffies, everything in the back of the plane, putting the food in the pontoons. And just watching videos, I assumed there would be a rifle case for my rifle.
Yeah, no,
there
wasn't.
Throw
it in there.
Yeah. So I wrapped it in my jacket, stuffed it in a sled, and we hauled it in the back of the plane.
Yeah. All right. So they fly in. So were you going in a Super Cub?
Yeah.
Okay. So it was just you and the pilot, and then he came back and got your buddy, or
well, maybe it wasn't a Super Cub. I think it was a. It's great.
But it was a two-seater? Oh, yeah.
It was a four-seater. So he popped the third seat out. That's where all our gear went.
Yep.
And then Rich rode up front beside the pilot, and I rode behind the pilot.
Gotcha. Okay. So you land, right?
Oh, yeah. No.
Everything's easy. Pump up the rafts. So you had one or two rafts?
So we had two rafts.
Yeah. Just to get two moose out, I'm assuming you have two.
Yep. I did skip one part that's very pertinent to this story. So we take off, no big deal. We're on the plane, we're chatting with the pilot, and they have the comms channels where they can talk to other pilots or the flight tower. And he'd flipped over to the comms channel, and it wasn't really loud. So I'm like holding the sides of my headphones, trying to listen in. And I hear this other pilot say, "You're taking them where? The water's the highest it's been since the 90s. And like Rich looks at me, I look at Rich. I'm like, where are we going? And what is happening? So then we're chatting with Andy on the way up, and he's like, do you guys know where you're getting picked up? I'm like, honestly, no. We have like a 12-mile corridor that we might get picked up in. So he texted the pilot that's picking us up, and the pilot gave us GPS coordinates for exactly where we're supposed to be.
Yep.
So great. We go up, we hit the ground, unload the plane. Andy takes off, and we're like excited, man. Hey, we finally made it. It's been a couple years in the making. We talk about it a lot. It's a half mile down to this big oxbow lake. So we take one load down to the oxbow, throw everything on the bank, go back, get the second load, bring it down to the bank, start pumping up the rafts. There's caribou migrating through this corridor where we're at. I was like, that's pretty cool. We got caribou tags too. But we're there for a moose hunt. We agreed that we wouldn't shoot a caribou till we killed a moose. Like, that's our clock on the meat. You got to come out after you kill something. So if we see a caribou.
Now, I don't want to skip ahead. Mm-hmm. Did they go over the kind of rules of the road of what to bring to extend the life of? So when you cape out an animal in the lower 48, it's usually a really shitty job. People leave meat and everything, and then when you guide up there, because you have to keep the cape, it's spotless, right? And so you get used to going right to a taxidermist or a processor down here, and you don't have to, even as a backpack hunter, you generally have little like ecothermal corridors, like you have places to keep meat cool. You're really like it kind of fucked on that raft, right? Yep. Because you're baking in the sun, you got to float down the damn thing. Did they go over all the procedures, the sprays that you can put on the meat or anything? Did anybody talk to you about that ahead of time?
Not specific to this hunt or the hunt planner. Most of this information I got out of his books. Like, I'd read his books, I'd taken notes. I hunt here, I work at a processor, like a wild game processor. So caping, none of that. And I guess I didn't ask any questions. We had the citric acid spray, and I knew how to make meat caches and the tarp and condensation and all that other neat stuff from the first trip. So
for anybody listening, I just want to make sure this is the biggest bane of your existence when you do one of these trips, because if you shoot a moose on day one, your trip's done, because you have to get it out. If it's 60 to 100 miles, you got to be rocking and rolling, and especially in your case, sounds like the water's high. If you're dragging that fucker, it's a big problem, because now you've added several hundred pounds to the raft. So, all right, go ahead.
Yeah, we didn't even intend to kill something on this creek. We were waiting till we get to the river, because it was described as a pull riffle, does not deserve the term of navigable. It's a real SOB. But we jump in the little oxbow, we paddle across, and we get to this quote-unquote unnavigable river, and it is screaming.
Yeah.
Absolutely screaming. We hit it, and we're having fun. We're just two rednecks in a little rubber duck without any weight in it, and we're bouncing off the banks and skidding down through there, looking at caribou, stopping, looking at caribou. Oh, this is great. Get down, make the camp the first night. Super cool. We see a bull moose walk by camp, hang out, have a fire, eat some dinner, and went to bed. Go ahead.
How far do you think you traveled the first day?
10 miles.
Okay. And were you tracking that pretty good?
I wouldn't say we were tracking it. I mean, we had 18 days.
Yeah.
Our goal was like, hey, let's make it to the river and then we'll start hunting, because that was what the plan was. Because we didn't even expect to be able to float with our limited gear in this little creek. So we didn't care. It's like, hey, we're just going to blow out these 25 miles. So we were stopping, looking at caribou. Yeah, no destination. It wasn't like we were trying to track how many miles per hour we were going or anything like that. Just float down through here till dark, make camp on a sandbar.
Yeah. So I'm just going to look this up. What did this cost for the hunt planner?
$4,000.
Okay, gotcha. And so was it 8 or 4?
No, it's 4 just for the package.
Okay,
so
gotcha.
We split it the 3 ways, and then I reimbursed Tom when he got out.
Gotcha.
So it was like $2,000 a piece.
Okay, cool. So day 1, you float, 10 miles, whatever. So how many days before you shot the moose?
We shot it on day 2.
On day 2. So had you hit the river yet?
No.
Okay, so go ahead and start.
Yeah, we jump up in the morning. It's daylight. Hey, we take off, and we're rafting until like 10:30 in the morning. I got to pee. Let's eat a bite. We find this high glass and knob. Looks like a place to watch caribou. Sounds like a great deal. Pull the boat up, tie it off on the bank. The water's still high, particularly because this is supposed to be a dry creek, and we haven't touched bottom. We haven't dragged. We haven't seen a rock. It's just high-cut banks and brush. And jump out of the boat. And I guess maybe just me, when you're on a hunt, you just keep your weapon with you.
Yeah.
You don't let it get too far, because that's exactly when you're going to see something. So we jump out. I got to pee. I've got snacks stuck in my waders. I lean my gun against a tree. I start taking my waders off, and Rich goes, "There's a moose." I'm like, oh, man. So I turn around. I got one buckle hanging off, and here stands this large moose, 70 yards. I guess he heard us coming down the creek and just decided to walk over and look.
Around, yeah.
And I'm like, all right, Rich, get your bow. He's like, it's in the boat. I'm like, well, the boat's like 10 yards away. Just go get it. No, he'll run off. You shoot him. I'm like, I don't want to shoot him. I've already killed a moose. Like, we're here for you. Setting out, he was going to take a bow. I brought a rifle. Either way, it'll work out. We'll kill something. And it's going to be harder to kill one with a bow, so he's up first. Like, I don't care how many days it takes. You are up first. No, you shoot it. I was like, okay. So I picked the gun up. I look, I'm like, how far is it? And before he can range it, I look, it's got 6 brow tines, so it's legal.
Yeah.
It's got velvet hanging off one side. And I was like, okay. I said, are you sure? He's like, yeah, I want to kill one with a bow. And I got all this on video evidence so he doesn't backpedal his story later. So I put one in the chamber, shoot him in the chest. He buckles his knees. He drops down.
Was he facing you?
He was.
Okay.
Yeah, he was pretty quarter in two, so I just clipped that front shoulder. I was shooting 168 Great Barnes, and I just wanted it to disintegrate. He's like 70 yards. So clipped the shoulder, collarbone, and it buckled his knees, dropped him to the ground. He stood up again broadside. I put another one in him, and that was it. It was like 10 seconds. He was down. And I was pretty concerned because I've seen other videos where dudes shoot him like 7 times with 338 rum.
Yeah.
I'm packing a 308 Winchester.
Yeah.
But
did the work.
Yeah, it did the work. It did the work.
So, all right. You're just 10 miles in. You shoot this moose. Your buddy's got the bow.
Yep.
And then pictures, processing, everything else, 6 hours?
Yeah, it was 10:30 when we shot him, and I think we hit the river at 6.
Yeah.
So,
it's a bitch. If you never done a moose, it sucks. But
yeah. So we.
At least he didn't die in the water.
He did not die in the water. He died right on the bank beside the water. But there's like a 10-foot undercut bank, so we ended up packing it 100 yards down to the sandbar. And we blew up both boats, loaded the rafts, kind of split it. I had a Legend, supposed to be good for 1,250 pounds, and he took an alpaca raft, one of their foragers.
Yeah.
Which they're ready for 1,000. We were like, we don't even have to worry about weight until we kill the first moose. And even then we should be good. We got 2,200 pounds of weight capacity. So we blew up both boats, get them both loaded, and take off, and quickly realize we're undergunned. Or
sinking?
It wasn't sinking in the beginning, but the waves are definitely coming over the boat. Neither one of us can steer with our little kayak paddles. Just 1,000 pounds in those boats in that flood plain.
Yeah. You were just pretty much bouncing.
We were pinballing it all the way down there.
Yeah.
Hitting trees, hitting the bank. He would pass me, I would pass him. Neither one of us could steer. So we kept having to get out, and you would just walk the raft down. And then you'd get to the bend in the river. It'd be too deep, or the creek. You'd jump in, crash into the bank, jump out, walk down a sandbar. And we did that for 2 or 3 hours till it was almost dark.
Did you get to the point at all where you were like, we fucked up?
Or 100%.
Okay, yeah.
We're already there.
Yeah.
As soon as we realized we couldn't steer and we were just passing each other and at the whim of the water,
yeah,
we realized we were hosed. Absolutely hosed.
So I've been where you're at, so I'm laughing.
Yeah.
That's why I'm laughing internally. So when you, like my raft out there would be perfect, right? But it's not a packing raft, right?
Yeah.
So describe this raft so people understand. How long was it? How wide was it, roughly, right?
Yeah, I think they're like 14 feet long. They're 44 inches wide, something like that.
They're not super tippy. They're not bad.
No, I mean, we had all kinds of fun in it when it was just our 600 pounds.
Yeah.
Because we had that 680-pound weight limit. You take 65 pounds out for the boat, about 600 pounds. No issues. I mean, the big pontoons.
So how far did you make it day 2 with the Moose?
2 miles.
Gotcha. So were you alarmed? Yeah. I mean, I know you said you were worried, but like at this point where you're like, this is we gotta go. Like we gotta really get after it. Like
so we killed the moose, and I had talked to Right Air Service. I was like, hey, we're planning 18 days. If we kill something, we can't stay that long. Can you guys pick us up? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Great. Which we'll see. We'll kill something. We'll see how many days we have left. We'll talk to them and get picked up in a relatively amount of time, 6-7 days, something, so the meat doesn't rot. So I'm texting my wife, hey, we got a moose. Can you call Right Air Service? When can they pick us up? They can be there in 12 days. Like, that's a problem. Can you confirm that? Like, nothing at all that they can do to get here for 12 days. Nope, 12 days. Well, at that point, we still have 60 miles to go, but I have 12 days to do it. So it's not like we were in a super hurry. That's when we hit the river, realized we were in a big problem that we couldn't steer. And
so what was your info that you had read as far as how long you could keep with proper care the meat good?
I was assuming 7 days.
Okay.
9 would be quite a stretch, but 7 in the right conditions, not a terrible deal. If you keep it dry and the citric acid and all that stuff.
So citric acid is a spray. Some people do vinegar. Helps with bugs too. And you bring a spray bottle, spray it on the core. I've never had to do this shit. And I say that meaning I prepped for it. But like when you're backpack hunting, because I want to make sure people understand the context of this. Backpack hunt, you kill something, let it cool off. Generally, it's pretty cold at night. Let all the meat cool off, get it in the game bag, hang it in one of those spots when you're walking through and you're like, wow, it's colder here. No problem. And then you hang it up in the shade and you're pretty good for 5 to 7 days. I mean, people get nervous, but you want it to age, right? You want the blood to drip out of it. So it's not a bad thing. People get paranoid about this. This is sitting on basically like a piece of plywood, right? I mean, I'm saying plywood, but it's just sitting on the front of the raft with the rack. And then you're supposed to you can kind of jerry rig a tarp over it that you're supposed to do with this, which is a little bit of MacGyvering, right?
Tarp, willows, you know, you don't, if you wrap it, it gets condensation, gets wet again. So you throw down some brush to keep airflow going under it, but it's in the shade.
Yeah.
And we weren't inexperienced rafters. I mean, I grew up in a John boat. I've owned drift boats, canoes, kayaks. I've fished the Smith River. I've done the Bob Marshall. Like the rafting portion wasn't even a concern in my mind. I just did it in 22 and killed a moose, floated it out 90 miles.
Yeah.
So that it's starting to get dark. We've made it 2 miles. We're walking the rafts because we can't steer.
Yeah.
And there's white water on the right, big low hanging tree on the left. I'm like, I can't make that. Like I'm gonna hit it and flip, and this is gonna be bad. So we're like, let's just ditch the meat right here on the sandbar, and we'll go find a place to camp. It was just logistic. There was nowhere to sleep. So we built a little meat cache, laid out all the logs like you're supposed to, put the meat on it, put a tarp over it, sent it through this whitewater section, missed the tree, set up camp, and it was pretty quiet that night. We're worried. We're at mile 18 of 80, and we've got a dead moose. They can't pick us up for 12 days, and we're seriously like, are we going to make it? Are we going to survive?
Yeah.
We get up the next morning, we unload the raft, carry it a half mile back up, throw it in the river, float down, grab the meat, come down, and these rafts have 6 self-bailers in the floor. Mm-hmm. They all leak.
Yeah.
but you don't know that they all leak. You just know that this is the main leak because I can see the water coming in.
Yeah.
So we flip the raft up. We patch 2 self-bailers, load all our stuff in it, and we take off that day. Much of the same. We're crashing. We went one boat the second day to the day after we killed the moose.
Yeah.
To try to steer because at least with him in the front and me in the back, we can somewhat steer. And
Were
we
you
can
towing the other one?
We did that for a portion of the trip,
Yeah.
but not on this creek. It's like 15 feet wide.
Yeah.
So we jump in, we take off. We're doing better at crashing because we can steer, but you can't slow down your descent. We can't overpower this 1,000-pound raft, 1,100-pound raft.
Yeah.
And we get to another bad section, just whitewater, low tree. You're going to have to hit it perfect or you're going to pop your boat or flip. So we decided to unload half of the weight to try to be able to navigate this section. So we unloaded the head, because it's on top, rear quarter, a front shoulder, and the scrap bags, like the neck meat flanks.
Yep.
We send it. Great, cool, we made it. And we go down about a half a mile. There's like a big U in the river. And we unload the whole raft, dump the water out, and we start carrying it back up to get the first load of meat. No big deal. We go up, get the meat, come down the second time. Second time's way worse. We hit everything in there. Didn't flip, but we hit everything. So we get back. We've only made it a mile.
Yeah.
And it's been half the morning.
Yeah.
Of walking down the rapids. We get back to our gear that's stacked up on the sandbar with all of the meat, and it's quiet again. I say we were like kicked in the dick and our egos were bruised. We didn't expect to have all these issues, but we were. So we sat there, we're eating a snack, and I'm like, we're going to have to blow up the second boat and tow it, or you paddle it, or send it ahead. We're going to have to do something different. This isn't working. Every time you hit a section of rapids by any means, the water just comes over the front of the boat.
Yeah.
It comes over the sides of the boat, and then we're bailing bloody water out with your only drinking cup.
Yeah.
So we're sitting there, we eat lunch, we start blowing up the second boat, the Alpaca, and they have an inflatable floor, and then they have these seats that clip in the floor. So I'm on one side of the boat, Rich is on the other side, I'm looking at the river, he's looking at the bank, and I've got my head down here, and I'm hooking this seat in, and I just see Rich snap to attention and pull his pistol. And I didn't poop my pants, but there might have been a shark that went off. And I crawl over this little 12-inch high boat and turn around, and a grizzly runs back into the brush. And we're talking inside 10 yards.
Yeah,
it was like 20 feet. And I was like, holy cow. And then we look, and they had came and took our meat while we went back to get the load that we left.
Yeah, yeah.
And they were coming back to get the rest of it while we were standing there. And I was like, dude, they took the ribs, they took a rear, they took a front, they took the loins. I was like, we got to go figure this out.
So I want to make sure that people understand Alaska is overly anal retentive on the meat. They are different than any other state that I've ever hunted in some areas, and I don't know all the legalities, but you can't debone the meat. It has to stay on the bone.
Even the ribs.
There is, I think, there's a percentage or a weight limit of what can be left on an animal. So like Wyoming, 4/4, backstrap, tenderloins, neck meat, that's it, right?
Yep.
You can leave a lot, basically. Yep. I mean, you know, whatever. I mean, on a doe is one thing, but, you know, you don't have to take the rib meat, whatever. They don't fuck around in Alaska. You got to take everything. Yep. Everything. So were you shitting your pants now because of the bear, or because you were worried you were going to get in trouble, or a little bit of everything?
Not so much the bears. I mean, we have bears here. No big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely that, like, what do we do now legally? Because I don't want to go to jail. So I pull out my inReach, and I text Larry. I'm like, hey, what do we need to do? You know, I run him through it. A grizzly bear just showed up, stole our meat. And at the same time, I texted our pilot, Andy, because Andy was super nice. He kept checking in on us. Hey, how's the weather? We would chit-chat, and he would let us know what's going on. So we're trying to figure out what to do. And it is thick, just super thick right there where those bears were. And you can see their trails, you can see their tracks. So we know the game bags are somewhere in this thick chunk. And, I mean, I've salvaged meat before. Did they tear it up? Did they bury it? Have they opened the bags? Did they just carry them off?
And what was the timeline between you getting – what was the timeline the meat was – you weren't standing on it?
20 minutes.
Yep. And I only bring that up because it happens fast.
It does happen super fast. Yeah, it was like 20 minutes. I mean, we unloaded it. We went straight back.
They smell it. They're coming.
Yeah.
And they live on that river.
They do.
Yeah.
So they They ran across the creek. We just saw a bear run across the creek. I was like, all right, I'm going to watch the creek where the bears went. You go in there and find it, talking to Rich. Okay, cool. So we split. He goes in there. He finds the meat. It's all buried. You can see the game bag sticking up in the brush. And he comes back to tell me. And while we're standing there talking about, okay, I'll stay and watch. You go recover it, like uncover it, see if they've tore the game bags up, see how dirty it is.
Yeah.
They come off the bank, and it's a sow and 2 cubs, and big cubs. They're like 2-year-old cubs.
Yeah.
And they come right down to the edge of the water, and they're standing there looking at us, and we're looking at them. And I decided we're not going in there to get that meat.
Yeah. Yeah.
At this point, they know we're here. They've seen us twice, and now they're coming back.
Yeah, they don't care.
They want to fight.
Yeah.
So we go over, just chuck everything in the raft. Let's get off this sandbar. Let's leave them with what they have. Andy did text us back and say, if you could get in there safely without harming yourself, without harming the bears, see if you can salvage it. But with the bears, it changed the situation.
Yeah.
We jump in the raft, and we're trying to put distance between us. 10 minutes later, I flip the boat.
Yeah.
We make it down a straight stretch. There's a hard turn, and what's happening is the river's higher than it should be, so it's eroding the banks, and all these trees are starting to cave in.
Yeah, falling in.
Yeah, so there's all these low trees, and this low tree, I hit the bank with the nose, I spin around sideways, and the rack catches the tree, and it just flips us. So I'm holding onto the boat. I can't touch the bottom. I'm just waiting to find something to get to the bank, but I don't want to let go of the raft because that is my only means of transportation. We get it over to the bank. We have to untie everything, let everything drop in the creek, flip the boat over, throw everything back in the boat, tie everything back down, and then we're just walking.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to flip again. I'm soaked to the bone. My waders are full. There's grizzly bears 200 yards behind us. I'm not hanging out.
Yeah.
So we made it about a mile from the grizzly bears, and then same thing. There's white water. There's trees in the river, and the trees would go down with the root balls attached.
Yeah.
So you'd get this root ball of pointy sticks that will blow a hole in your raft that you can't raft around because you can't steer. You have to walk it around it. But if the water's too deep,
it's a problem.
You're lining it down the bank. So we just pulled up and made camp there for the night. I push Rich across the river in his boat. He paddles for all he's got, hits this high bank. He pulls his boat up. His paddle falls out, goes in the river, gone. We're down a paddle.
Yeah.
So we get my raft across with all the meat in it, and I take my glassing pad, the foam sleeping pad, and I tie a rope to it, and I just chuck it out in the river, which it's still a creek at this point. We haven't even
hit the river
yet.
Yeah,
no, we're not even there yet. And I let this thing float down around these rapids, and Rich walks the bank, gets down there to the sandbar, and then we let the raft down to each other so we don't just let it go. We get all the meat unloaded, and there's a tree that we can hang it in. So we hang all this soaked meat at this point because it was upside down in a raft, and I'm freezing to death, soaked to the bone. We set the tent up. We've got a 6-man tent with a hot stove, and we just start feeding this thing, trying to get warm and dry.
Yeah.
Well, what I didn't know is when you pitch your tent on the moss tundra and you put a stove in there, you create a wet sauna.
Yeah.
So in 10 minutes, it's 105, and sweat is pouring off of us.
Yeah. So like so people understand when Hillebergs will condensate, for example, when you set up a tent and you set that up on dewy grass and you say my tent's condensating, it's not the tent's, and it's the tent's fault, but it's not the tent's fault. And in where you're at, you don't have an option, right? It's all like that. So, but if you pitched 5 feet away a Hilleberg on dirt compared to 5 feet to the left on grass, the condensation will be exponentially worse. And it is just you breathing plus the grass, the condensation, the dew. Well, where you're at, it is just wet moss, right? And I'm sure it's just dripping like crazy on everything, and it's like it's raining inside. If the wind blows, it just snaps water everywhere. I'm having PTSD thinking about this now. So that was happening to you in full effect.
Yeah.
And you can't burn the stove hot enough to burn it out. You're not going to dry the sides off. People try. It just makes more condensation. So, all right, go ahead.
It's a great learning curve.
Yep.
So we just decided to go outside and build our own fire and at least dry our fronts and the typical knees to chest that gets dry by the fire. And we just stand there and we're like, dude, we're screwed.
Yeah.
Like, we are super screwed. We only made it a mile. It was like 1.3 miles from the grizzly bears.
Yeah.
And the wind's blowing that direction. I'm like, maybe they'll come back and just finish off tonight. We won't have to go another 60 miles.
Yeah.
But we stood there, we ate. Our spirits are still relatively good.
Yeah.
We're not dead. We haven't, I wouldn't say risked our lives, but it sucks. Like, it really sucks. And we talk about what we can do. We're 7-8 miles. No.
The thing is, right now, there's nothing you can do.
No.
Like, everything I'm hearing, you're fucked, right? Like, I mean, when I say that, the pilot, you had told him about the bear, whatever. Mm-hmm. Was there any context of him coming in early yet? Was there any conversation of all of like, hey, is there spots you can pick us up early?
So the Shadow Aviations flew us in. That's Andy. That's the guy we're texting back and forth, responding about the bears, talking about the weather.
Yeah.
Our pickup pilot, we have no contact for them other than the main office.
Yeah.
And that's where I have my wife calling, and they're saying, no, we will be there in 12 days.
Gotcha.
At X location. There are no options. And we had never heard back from Larry on what legally we had to do to
for the
grizzly bear meat.
Yeah.
So we decided we're just going to take all of the meat to the river. Like half a load, we're going to go straight to the river, and then we're going to deflate the raft and pack it 5 miles back to camp through the tussocks. So we go to bed, we get up the next morning, we grab the meat, and we send it down through there, which with half a load, it's not terrible. You can at least steer
manage
the
it,
boat. With a canoe paddle, you just don't have any, there's no strength there.
Yeah.
You get rowing oars, you can do about whatever.
Yeah.
So we get the meat down to the river, and the river is clear. It's crystal clear blue water. It's wide. I'm like, okay, like this is going to be good. We just have to get to the river. Not a big deal. We deflate the raft. We stick it in a backpack, throw our stuff in the other backpack, and take off hoofing it back to camp. And 5 miles in the tundra is a long ways.
Yeah, it is, especially with weight.
Yeah, and it's 50 degrees. The white socks are out in full force. You're just eating white socks, inhaling white socks, and mosquitoes. So we get like 4 miles back, and there's a swamp that we didn't know about. And, of course, we're too stupid to stop and put our waders back on, so we try to hike around this thing and probably add 3 miles to the trip back to camp.
Yeah.
But we get back to camp. Okay, cool. We just got a raft out in the morning. We'll be at the river. It's starting to look up. Get up the next morning, make it to the river, grab the meat, load the meat. And the meat, I feel like it's important that we talk about what our meat care was, because that was a big point with the game warden that we'll get to in the end.
Yeah.
So every opportunity I can, I hang the meat.
Yeah.
Because laying it on sticks, it gets airflow, but nothing like it's hanging.
Yeah.
And you have to flip it. And then everything that touches the sticks gets wet. And then you have to flip it again, and everything that touches the sticks gets wet. So we were taking a tree that washed up on the bank and lashing it to 2 standing trees and then tying it in there, pitching a tarp over it, making a tent. And that's what we did at the river. It's also what we did at the last campsite. But we get down there, we get the meat on the raft, tarp it, sun's out, take our lash meat pole down so that, we're not leaving a footprint for anybody to see later.
Yeah.
And we hit the river, pretty high spirits, the water's low, it's clear. We're just singing and giggling, making it down through there. And then it starts to rain. And I mean, it is pouring down the rain. And we raft till like 3 o'clock in the rain. It had cooled off to 36 or so.
Yeah, hypothermia weather.
Yeah. Teeth are chattering, fingers are blue, everything's saturated. Rain gear's great. You go 8 hours in a rainstorm, it's not breathable rain gear anymore. It's just letting the water in. We pull over for lunch. We go in the timber to at least try to get out of the rain, and fire starter down. We're going to build a fire and at least get a little bit of heat in our hands. Warm up our food, set it down. 1 fire starter, nothing. 2 fire starters, nothing. All right, let me get my jet boil stove. Burn some tinder. Mm-hmm. It goes out instantly.
Yeah.
It's too wet. Everything's wet. It's Alaska, plus it's rained all day. So we eat our food, go back to the boat, take off again. And the water's low. It's nice. It's calm. And we make it down to so we're on the river now. We've made it through this treacherous high creek. And I think we went about 10 miles that day on the river. So we're 50 miles from the takeout. We pull up, and because it had rained all day, I'm like, let's camp high. Like, the water's probably going to come up some.
Yeah.
We're not going to sleep right on the river. So we find a place. We lash another tree, hang the meat, tarp the meat, go set up the tent, fire up the hot sauna again, try to burn out the moisture. That doesn't work. Just go to
So which
bed.
tent did you have?
The Argali 6-man.
Okay, yeah, and no, so just because I have the Argali 6-man, Argali has a bug net, but not a liner, and it's very important. And I like Argali. Brad's a great dude. Without shitting on people from the lower 48, we're kind of pussies, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so when you travel north, which you got to witness, Amy's here, listen to the podcast. She got to see the great north, and all it has, you can fucking die, right? It happens fast. And so a liner is extremely important. A guy that used to run Delta Force Commander, a buddy of mine, he owns Viking Tactics. He took, when I worked for Kafaru, one of my shelters up with no liner, and he brought just standard tent stakes, which don't work worth a shit. You got to have SST pins, you got to have longer stakes, and you can't even do dead man anchors because the moss or whatever is pretty difficult. So you really need like either a foot long spiral stake.
That's what we had.
Yeah, and those will work better. And even those can be a pain in the ass, but if you don't have a liner, you're basically sleeping in a rainstorm. So liners are very important. There's nothing wrong with the Argali shelters, but you do need a liner when you head north, especially when you're by the coast or Alaska. So, okay, so at this point you're on day 3 or 4?
4.
Day 4, and you've went 20 miles?
So the creek was 25, and we're about 10 in, so we're 35 miles
35.
in.
Okay, so 25 miles to go, is that?
It was about 80 total.
80, okay, so a little bit more than that. So 25, 30, 40 miles to go.
Yep.
I feel like. Okay, so with 40, now are you guys at this point like, fuck the other moose, go?
So,
or like, maybe it'll get better?
On the creek, we can't put another ounce weight in this boat, but we still have 12 days. So do we go down and, I mean, the river's going to come down eventually if it'll stop raining.
Yeah.
So we didn't have any plans. Get to the river. The river's crystal clear. I mean, we made it 10 miles on the river. No issues. We didn't hit anything. No life-threatening issues. Yeah. Cool. Great. So that's where we went to bed. Like, everything's going to be great. We'll go out in the morning and we'll find something to kill.
Yeah.
Well, we get up the next morning, and the river's now chocolate milk.
Yeah.
And the little stick I'd put in the water to mark the water level is gone.
Yeah.
So I go down there, and it's up about 18 inches overnight.
Gotcha.
So we decide, no, we can't kill anything, but we should probably stay here for a couple of days.
Yeah.
And let the water come back down. It was so cool because I woke up in the morning, I look out, the river's chocolate milk, and there's trees floating down. 30-foot logs with root balls floating down. I was like, I don't think I want to be out there today. It looks pretty treacherous.
Yeah.
So we hike up to a glass of knob, look around. There's 3 grizzly bears out and about. I was like, oh, cool. They'll come back and take all the meat.
Yeah.
And maybe eat us too. And there's some caribou going by, and we see a bull moose. And he's like half a mile down the river. We don't even go.
Yeah.
We don't even talk about going. Yeah. We're like, that's neat. And that's it. That was the end of it. And like, there's bull caribou going by. We have caribou tags.
Yeah.
I'm honestly trying to convince Rich to shoot a caribou.
Yeah.
It's like, you get something. It's a trophy. You can take it home. It doesn't weigh as much as a moose.
Yeah. Was he not buying that sales pitch?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah.
It moose or nothing.
Yeah.
And I was hoping that if he kills caribou, we can just stay here for 4 or 5 days, let the river come down, and then we'll float out. Because at this point, we still have like 8 days until they come pick us up. He doesn't buy it. We go back to camp. The water's now up 2 feet. And there's no trees are currently floating down the river, but it still sucks. So we decide, just go to bed, nothing else we can do. Get up the next morning, and I'm texting with Andy, our drop-off pilot. He's asking how the weather's going. I'm telling him how the hunt's going. The river's blown out. It's up 2 feet from what it was. It looks pretty treacherous. What do you think we should do? And then he texts me back. He's like, well, Larry says you should push on. Get out before the meat rots. I was like, well, that's neat because I haven't heard from Larry since we ran into a grizzly bear. Mm-hmm. And so we sat and we chat about it. I was like, well, we can try it. I mean, we don't have anything to lose, but we still have like 6 days till we get picked up. So I don't know what the hurry is to go to the takeout. Why would we try to raft the 50 miles in high water when hopefully it comes down? That's all we can hope for.
Yeah.
So we load up the rafts, jump in the rafts, and we're just going as slow as possible. Like, we're floating over the sandbars because everything's underwater. Yeah. So we're out of the main channel just trying to avoid the current. You have to cross it from time to time. Every time you cross it, all the waves flood the raft. You're bailing water out. This is when we blew up his raft, chucked stuff in his raft. We have it tied behind us, which is all of its own fun adventure. If you've never tried it, it passes you, you pass it. It's where you should be paddling.
Yeah.
It's in the brush.
Yeah.
You're dodging trees. It's running into trees. Then you're tied with a rope to an anchor that you shouldn't be.
Yeah.
All going great. And a lot of this, you have to scout ahead. Like, you look down there, you see something bad, and you get out, you walk the bank and see, okay, here's plan A, we should try this. Well, if the current's too strong, we'll have to abandon plan A and try not to die.
And you don't have to do that, just so people understand. If you don't have a moose in your raft, it's not as dire if it's just two dudes in a raft or two dudes in two rafts. It's not as big of a deal to scout ahead. That weight really makes the difference. And when I haven't done a ton of this with that much weight, but if you can imagine an ice storm and you have an overloaded F-350 and you go to stop, the stopping ability of that truck is reduced by 90%. It's going to do whatever it wants. And so the scouting ahead part is very important because you have no control of the raft whatsoever. When I say whatsoever, pretty much no control. So how far did you get that day?
We made it pretty far. We made it another 15 miles.
And no crises, you didn't flip, it was just a pain in the ass?
Yeah, just a lot of, the boat's flooded, you pull over, nose it up, get your cup out, flip all the water out, take off again. It was just standard procedure to stop every time you hit a rapid and bail the water out. So it's probably 2 or 3 in the afternoon, we get to this spot, and you can just see this giant clump of trees stuck in the middle of the river. I said, okay, let's pull over and go check this out. So we bank it on this itty-bitty sandbar that's like 2 islands, more so than 2 islands. You got a sandbar, a strip of calm water because it's just like the low spot in the sandbar, another sandbar, and then there's a little channel that's flooding you out. So you're on an island. Don't ever camp on an island.
Yeah.
I don't camp on an island generally because you only have 2 options: poop on your island or put on your waders to go poop. So we can see this big brush pile. I'm like, hey, let's go check this out. So we walk through the swamp, and it's kind of like something you would see in the Amazon. The water is outside of the banks, so it's flooded the banks. So you have all the brush and the little trees that are growing, and all of their roots are exposed under the water. So you just trip. You're holding on to trees so you don't fall down, tripping through the roots. And we get down around this brush pile we're looking at, and it's a 90-degree bend. 100 yards of log jam have diverted the river to the left. And right at the end of it, there's a sweeper laying across the bank. The river had eroded a tree and it had fallen all the way across 2 feet off the water.
Okay, so wait, I want to make sure I understand the raft situation right now. Sorry, a dude was asking me if he can wear a backpack with a back brace, and then I started to tell him to grab Astroglide with zero context. And I was like, yeah, that might not come across correct. So the raft situation at this point, you're in 2 rafts or you're towing?
Towing.
Okay, so, and you, giant clump from hell in front of you. Mm-hmm. How far are you from it?
60 yards.
Okay, but you got stopped?
Yep.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, we're stopped on this little island, and down around the clump, the whole outer edge, which is where all the current is just log jam, which all they have in Alaska are pine trees. So if you've never seen a downed pine tree, all it has is all these little sharp spears that stick out every direction. That's going to pop our boat if we hit this thing.
Yeah.
Which is because of this first pile of debris, you have to go over close to it. We don't want to be close to it. And then the biggest problem is if we survive that, there's a sweeper that we can't stop. It's all the way across the river. There's no getting out. We would have to somehow get the raft over to the log jam, get out on the log jam, not pop a hole in the raft, get down to the sweeper.
Were you thinking at this time, why the fuck did anybody send us on this? Like,
oh, yeah.
Like, were they just collecting our money and be like, well, good luck, boys? Was it like somebody should have said, hey, this is the most dangerous conditions we've had since the 90s?
I definitely feel like somebody should have mentioned that it was pretty flooded.
Yeah, gotcha.
Now, explaining the river, it's just this lazy, calm, the first 25 miles we're supposed to be dragging because there's no water. And then it's just big pools, little riffles.
That's what you were told.
Yeah, I was totally expecting just this lazy float.
Probably more labor than
100% more labor.
Well, there was some fucking labor with what you were doing, but
I was expecting to drag, unload, drag, sandbars, unnavigable water because there's no water.
Yeah.
Just like a lazy float, like the lazy river.
Yeah.
Where you got to get out and walk around trees.
Yeah.
Not the case. We still haven't drugged the boat 1 second. We haven't touched the bottom. We've touched the bank, but we haven't touched the bottom. So we're stuck on this sandbar. We're just talking about what are we going to do because there's a tree literally blocking our path. Well, there's an overflow dam that runs around this thing. So I said, well, let's go scope that out. Let's see if we can take the raft back up the river and come down this side channel. I didn't see a side channel, but I might have missed it. We were traveling pretty fast. So we walked this side channel. It's like a mile and a half back up river, and it's all deadfall. Yes, we could portage around it, but you ain't floating around it.
Yeah.
And then we come back and we talk about walking through the mangroves again. Could we pack everything around this log jam and not die tripping on the roots that are under this muddy water? And we pretty much decided no, we couldn't do that. So basically travel forward was null and void. Well, we walked the bank on the way back trying to see if we could go back up the river. Mm-hmm. But it's deep pools, the bank's flooded, it's all undercut. You definitely couldn't have pulled the raft back up the river.
Yeah.
You probably could have lined it, but when you're lining a raft that weighs that much with 550 cord tied to a handle, you're just going to pop it off.
Yeah.
If you've never done it, the handles just rip off.
Yeah.
And I was worried that if I ripped the handle off, it'd probably just rip a big hole in my boat, and I wouldn't have a boat anymore. So we just decided to sleep on the sandbar that night and figure it out in the morning.
Yeah.
Well, the sandbar is only 3 inches above the water.
Yeah.
So I told Rich, I don't want this to be the parent trap. Let's reload the boat. Parent trap where they float the mom out on the...
Yeah.
Okay. So we set the tent up, get all your stuff on. The only thing in the tent is like us and our cot. Everything else goes back in the dry bags, back in the boat. The boat's tied to a tree.
You gotcha.
It might flood in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
But we get up the next morning, the water's down like 4 inches. I was like, hey, we should just lay over here for a day, let the water come down some, and we'll go cut that tree out of the way.
Yeah.
The one that's laying across the river. So we walked around that morning, looked for moose, really just killing time. And that was, other than killing a moose, this was like our first break.
Yeah.
In my opinion. And I remember we just walked around, saw owls. We didn't see any moose. But when we came back to the river, like the anxiety that hit me. I don't have anxiety, never dealt with it. But when I got back to the river, I was like, I wonder how much it costs to hit the SOS button.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you think they would come pick me up? Would they take my gear out? Like, we can leave the moose. I'm so over the moose at this point.
Yeah.
But you got a lot of money and gear. Do you think they would take that out with me? And throughout this whole adventure, I'm texting my wife. Can they pick us up early? Can they pick us up early? This sucks. We're risking our lives to get off this river.
Yeah.
And she finally texted me and said, Right Air Service said, stop calling. I don't know how many times I have to tell you no. The answer is no.
Oh, good Lord.
So, whatever. We get across the river. I go spend 4 hours cutting this 20-inch log off the water. Break it free. It floats down. Rich is over on the log jam trying to unlodge all of the root balls.
Yeah.
Because they're the ones catching the water and pushing it. So we spent the whole day just figuring out the situation. We had the other boat, like the alpaca raft, where it's lightweight. You can buck the current. You can kind of check. So I was down there checking it out. I was planning the route. We went back, went to sleep, got up the next morning. The tree's out of our way. The water's down like 24 inches, and it's not super swollen and angry.
Yeah.
So we send it. We make it. No big deal. And I'm like, dude, let's get all the way to the end. Let's get 5 miles from the takeout. We're still on this remote river. We're not to the big river where we get picked up, but our best bet is to cover as much distance as possible and then try to kill another moose.
Yeah.
He's cool with that. I'm cool with that. So we just sent it. Didn't have too many hiccups that day. Plenty of scouting ahead, bailing out water every time you hit a bad spot.
And now, what day are you on now?
Oh, I honestly have to look.
But you still, even if you get to where you need to go, are fucked.
Oh, yeah, we still got 5 days.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
4 or 5 days before they'll come pick us up.
Yeah, okay.
So we raft all the way to the end. There's like one spot that still looks good. pull up camp there. I'm like, Rich, I've ruined your entire hunt. You go hunt. I'll set the tent up. I'll get the meat. No big deal. Just leave. Okay, cool. So
now, were you guys getting along pretty good during this?
Yeah. We hadn't had any altercations.
Yeah.
We hunt together a lot down here. We get along great. I mean, we're closer than brothers. So he's like, "All right, man, you sure?" I'm like, "Dude, I feel terrible.
Yeah.
I've felt terrible since I shot the moose. And as soon as we hit the water, all the fun left. It was just a suck fest, and I knew I had ruined both of our hunts at this point. Of course, I'd killed a moose, but you go hunting for more than the trophy. It's like the experience, and this experience sucks." But he leaves. He goes up. He's glassing. I get the tent set up. I get my meat cache built. I put all the meat on it. Rich comes back, and we're chit-chatting. He's like, "Man, I saw a bear. I didn't see any moose." I was like, "Okay, in the morning, let's get up. We'll split directions. I'll look all this way. You look all this way. Let's find a moose." So we get up in the morning. We're looking for moose. We didn't even find a moose herd. They didn't exist in this spot.
Yeah.
So I go back at like 10 o'clock in the morning, back to camp, and the meat's just not drying because it's on a rack. So the sandbar sleep trip, it was on a rack because there wasn't any trees. And then at this trip, I put it on there. And there's not a lot of trees. Like, you're not always blessed with a place to lash a tree to build a meat rack.
Yeah.
So I'm like looking around, and there's all kinds of trees laying on the sandbar. So I'm like, I'm going to build a tripod. I'm going to get this shit hung.
Yeah.
And I got my paracord. I built like a 15-foot tall tripod out of huge trees. And then there's a big dead tree like 30 feet long. And I was like, man, if I can get that in the top of this tripod, I can hang it all and it'll look great.
Yeah.
It was 4 hours of me building tripods, but I got it.
Yeah.
And then,
So, I mean, it's just like that, right?
Yep.
And so the tripod's something, you can hang a kettle off of, and a small deal you can smoke whatever, right?
Yep.
You smoke meat off at cook meat, or in your case, or like with this, and this is something we teach in survival. You're having to build a house of a tripod, though.
Oh, yeah.
Like, yeah, it's big. So having tried to do that myself, even with two people, so did you get it laid flat, wrangle it together, and then try to walk each leg up little by little? Because a 15-foot tall tripod's pretty hard to.
Oh, yeah.
You can't climb up there and tie the fucker, right?
That
so you
is
have
correct.
To tie it low, push it up, and then basically kind of you can sometimes twist the logs to tighten your.
That's exactly
your
right.
loop. Yeah.
So I laid all 3 logs parallel.
It fucking sucks, is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, go
that
ahead.
was the 4 hours.
Yeah.
So I laid all 3 logs parallel, tied them together. It's not super tight because they're not like 6 foot long, perfectly hand selected trees. They're a pile of crap that was washed up on the sandbar. So I take the center one, I flip it over to face the other direction to try to tighten it.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of propped up a little bit. So then I suck this leg up. It falls over. I start again. But eventually I got it.
Yeah.
I got it up there. Just you had to shimmy each leg a foot at a time. And then I would hang on it. It would start to give because it's not a perfectly erected tripod by any means. So then I was taking other logs, laying them at the base of the log, putting rocks on it so that the feet didn't kick out again. Well, then I shimmy up the tripod. I'm in the nest of the tripod, and I want to get a log into it. I couldn't fathom how I would tie all of my meat to the tripod and get it hanging without touching the edges.
Yeah.
So I've got the tripod up, and I have a rope tied to this log, and I pull it over, and then I'm trying to heave it up without crushing myself to get it in here.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a monstrosity
Yeah.
that I'm building, but it's the best I can think of. So 4 hours later, I get it up. Cool, great. You've tried to hang elk quarters by yourself before?
Yeah, yeah.
Have you ever tried to pull a moose quarter up and tie a knot?
Yeah, no,
It doesn't work well.
It's difficult. I mean, there's ways around it, but it's very in a perfect situation. There's a system that you can do, but the problem is what do you think your quarter weighed? 165 or something? Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't even touch on that.
Yeah.
The moose I killed in 22, I mean, it was a 62-inch moose. It was a big moose. But I could pick the quarters up and put them on my shoulder and carry them from point A to point B.
Yeah.
This moose, neither one of us could pick the quarters up.
Yeah.
It was Rich would get one side, I would get the other, and we would put it on each other's shoulders and carry it somewhere. I don't know if it was the biggest moose.
Yeah, big enough.
I've only killed 2, so I don't have a real frame of reference.
Yeah.
And we don't pack a scale to weigh it.
Yeah.
But big. They were big. So I get it hung. I get the tarp on it. Cool. I go back up to catch Rich for the evening glass. We haven't seen anything. There's nothing in this spot. We didn't even see the bear the second day.
Yeah.
There's no caribou. There's no moose. There's no birds. It's just dead silent. So Rich is like, I think I'm going to get in the boat and go down to another spot and check. Do you want to move? I was like, I don't want to move, dude. I just spent
Yeah.
like 6 hours getting the meat hung so it can dry. I said, I'm going to stay here for a day. He's like, okay, well, in the morning I'm going to leave.
Yeah.
That's cool. It's probably the best plan we've had, right? We've almost died 12 times, but we should totally split up. This is a good plan. So we get back to camp, have dinner, go to bed, get up next morning. Rich is like, all right, I'm leaving. Cool. I send him off on his way, and like the rivers came down. I feel like we're going to survive. We're almost at the end. We have 5 miles to the takeout. The meat's hung. It's dry. It still smells good. It smells like meat that's been in the woods for a few days, but it's not rotten. It's not green. It's not pungent. It's not no odor.
Yeah.
So I'm fishing, smoking a cigar. You know, my victory cigar I was supposed to smoke after I killed the moose. Here we are 8 days later. I'm smoking my victory cigar. Didn't catch any fish. Had a great day. Built a huge fire. Sat there all day, and I wrote all this down. Like the entire trip. Everything I could remember, every detail, I sat and wrote it. And I'm texting Rich. He's like, hey, this spot looks good. You know, I haven't seen anything. I saw some moose tracks, blah, 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 blah. I go to bed. I get up the next morning. I check the weather, and it's supposed to start raining. I'm still 2 days from getting picked up.
Yeah.
I know the meat should be in town. There's nothing I can do about that.
Yeah.
If they're not going to come pick me up for 12 days, we just have to survive with the best we can, which is why I built the tripod.
Yeah.
Try to preserve it the best I could. I mean, I'm taking the game bags off. I'm washing the game bags. We haven't killed a second moose. We have 2 sets. The whole trip. Wash the game bags, put on dried game bags.
Yeah.
Hang them up, dry them out, put on the dry bags again.
And even with synthetic game bags, which help with this cotton, is horrible. It's the bacteria that accumulates. That's why you want to clean them, and that's also the spray helps with that as well. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing good from your story so far. If it was raining, pussy, you'd get hit in the head with a dick on this trip. So you've got 2 days left now after your recovery day or whatever. All right, so you take off to go meet Rich.
Yep, so I load up that morning. It's supposed to start raining, and I'm just going to bomb to the takeout.
Yeah.
Get there, get it hung one more time, get it tarped, and I'll just wait till they show up. And I think this same day, the day, my down day, I'm texting Andy back and forth, and he says, if you get there early, they might pick you up. I was like, dude, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Which my wife had called him 15 times, and they flat out said no.
Yeah.
So anyways, I'll get there. It's going to rain. Cool, I'll just raft in the rain. I raft down, catch Rich. He's like, hey, a grizzly bear walked by last night. There's tracks 5 feet outside my tent. I was like,
yeah.
Neat, you should probably move. More so that if you kill a moose, once I go through this canyon, I can't come back.
Yeah.
But if you move down to the main river, it was like a mile from the pickup to where this river met the main river.
Yeah, the confluence. Right?
Yeah, at least I could walk back and help you.
Yeah.
So he's like, I don't know, I'll think about it. I raft down, hit the big river. I get to the takeout. I think I'm at the right spot. There's flagging tape, tire tracks, which is what I was told to look for. It's a super high sandbar. It looks legit. I found a meat cache on it, just logs that are piled there where other people have put meat. And there's airplane tracks. Cool. Pull the boat up, unload the meat one last time, get it all tarped. Glad that's over. I survived. It starts raining. Set up the tent, hop in the tent, texting Rich, hey, that other spot looks really good. You should come down to the confluence, check it out. He loads up, he floats down, hits the confluence, sets on the glass and knob. We text all day back and forth, nothing moving, don't see anything. There's a jet boat camped right down from us. And right about the time I get the tent set up and it's raining, I hear an airplane. I was like, oh, awesome, maybe they're coming to get the meat. This will be great. And then I can just go back, help Rich, because we were planning 18 days, so we had the supplies to stay another 6 days.
Yeah.
And we had chatted about this. If they'll come pick up the meat, we're still in Alaska on a river. We can just float down the main river and find a place to hunt. It's not a complete wash.
Yeah.
We just have to get the meat taken care of. So I hear a plane. It flies in, lands one sandbar down. And I'm thinking, did I pick the wrong sandbar? Like, am I on the wrong sandbar?
Yeah.
Between having the 12 pickup locations, the lady at Right Air Service.
Yeah.
I mean, Andy did text the pilot and get us good GPS coordinates, and I was there.
Yeah.
Well, I decided just to hang out. The dude came out, he tied his plane down, and he went in a tent. I was like, okay, well, clearly that wasn't my pilot.
Yeah.
So hang out, text Rich. He doesn't see anything. No big deal. He comes down the next morning, supposed to be our pickup day. I'm texting. They had gave me a number to text for our pickup air service, Right Air Service. Nobody's responding.
Yeah.
Okay. So, hey, honey, and my wife is a saint.
Yeah.
She did above and beyond, calling all these people based off of what I could text her on the inReach.
Yeah.
Take a sat phone. Just take a sat phone.
Yeah.
Whatever the price is, take a sat phone. So Rich comes down, we're standing there talking, and these guys come in a kayak, and it's a different group. They're getting picked up by Right Air Service. They have 8 caribou. So we tell them our story. They tell us their stories. We're just swapping stories. Everything's great. The pilot shows up about 1:30, lands, and I'm like, get me out of here.
Yeah.
I'm ready to go. And the meat is still good. Like, it's not green. It doesn't stink. It has the same smell as it did on the 3rd day. Like, the odor hasn't changed. And I know I said in the beginning, I work at a processor.
Yeah.
We cut up 15 elk last Friday.
Yeah.
I've been around good meat, bad meat, rotten meat, stinky meat, salvageable meat. So the pilot shows up, jumps out, and he's like, all right, I'm taking one guy in that moose. Okay. Well, all of Rich's stuff is packed. I still have the tent set up and my stuff in the tent.
Yeah.
I didn't know when they were coming. Standard Alaska, right? So he's like, all right, I'm going to take you. And he wanted Rich because he had the video of the grizzly bear taking the meat.
Yeah.
He's like, I want you to come with me in case we get checked.
Yeah.
Cool. Rich and the meat leave. He flies off. He's like, I'll be back in 2 hours to pick you up. I was like, okay, no big deal. I tear down my tent. I load all my stuff up. I'm standing there talking to the caribou guys. They're supposed to get picked up the next day.
Yeah.
By the same air service. They come back. I'm texting Rich. He's like, dude, I'm getting on the last plane to Fairbanks. I was like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
He's like, they're telling me that I have to carry everything down the runway at Fort Yukon and get on the last plane to Fairbanks. Okay, well, I'll figure it out, I guess.
Yeah.
The pilot comes back. He grabs me. He grabs my gear, which wasn't a lot, like the tent, the sleeping bag, the normal stuff you keep to stay alive. And then he grabs 3 caribou from the other guys.
Yeah.
And all of their crap, piles it in the plane, and he flies me to Fort Yukon, drops me off. If you haven't been to Fort Yukon, there's nothing there.
Yeah.
A runway.
Yeah.
So we get to Fort Yukon, and we just throw out all of the caribou meat on the runway. And he's like, I'll be back. Okay. I sat down. An hour goes by. There's flies buzzing around the meat.
Yeah.
And he comes back, and he has a caribou guy, 2 caribou guys, and more caribou. Pitch it out, and the meat's just laying in the sun. There's nothing. You're in a fenced runway.
Yeah.
I thought there would be accommodations at Fort Yukon.
Yeah.
Something. I didn't even have water.
Yeah.
I'm like, I wish I had money. He had my wallet.
Yeah.
And he's like, there's nothing to buy there. He said, I was looking for water, and some dude gave me a beer.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, well, there ain't anybody here. So the other caribou guys get there. We're sitting there talking. We've made it. We pull out our camp chairs out of our bags. Rich is telling me he was on the last flight, so I'm like, do I have to sleep
you're stuck there
on the runway tonight? Yeah. The pilot comes back with the last 2 caribou guys and all of their caribou, and he's like, hey, I've got one more. We're flying another plane up here to pick all of you up tonight.
Yeah.
Awesome. 10 o'clock, or it's like 8. They come pick us up. 9 o'clock, we're loaded all in the plane, and we're heading to Fairbanks. I said all the meat was laying on the runway. There's just nothing you do with it there.
Yeah.
Which Rich has all of my meat, but it's in the same boat. I mean, it's not in great shape. It's been 12 days.
Yeah.
But it just lays on the runway. There's not a meat pole. There's not wood. There's not a rack. There's nothing you can do with it besides lay it on the ground in the sun.
Yeah.
And the temperatures were relatively hot.
Yeah.
We had one morning that there was ice on the tent.
Yeah.
Outside of that, above 32.
Yeah.
But we make it to Fairbanks, and Rich has had his own whirlwind of adventure since he got back to Fairbanks. He was trying to unload the meat, and like they wouldn't let him because he was on more of a commercial flight.
Yeah.
It was picking up people from Fort Yukon and flying them down, so they wouldn't let him deal with the cargo. So he leaves and goes to the rental car place to get a rental car. They won't give him a rental car because he doesn't have a credit card.
Yeah.
But he has my wallet.
Yeah.
So my wife reserves it. Well, they won't let him pick it up because he has my credit card, but he's not me.
Yeah.
So he actually walks out of the airport, walks back in, has switched his ID for my ID.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, it's Justin Birthisel. Here's my credit card. And they're like, no. So he's left all of our stuff at Right Air Service.
Yeah.
While they're unloading the plane, they won't let him do it. And he goes and fights it out with the rental car place. They won't give him a car. He goes over to this other rental car place. They're like, oh, absolutely. We don't need a credit card. He said he stood there for an hour while they filled out his information. And they said, when do you want a car? He's like right now. Oh, we don't have anything for another week.
Oh, good Lord.
So he goes back over to Right Air Service, and all of our stuff is laid on a pallet. Like the meat is laid on a pallet. So the meat has been taken from the sandbar where I was caring for it absolute best I could, thrown on a runway in Fort Yukon, shoved into a plane, unloaded by some guys, left to bake in the sun in Fairbanks.
Yeah.
Everybody's gone. Rich is walking around Right Air Service looking for someone. This is where logistics, I never thought about the meat once I get it to town. Like that was the least of my concern. Once we get it to town, we have electricity, we have cars, all the amenities. He finds somebody moving pallets around, and he's like, hey, do you guys have a freezer? He's like, oh, I don't do that. Can I put the meat in the freezer? Well, no, not really. He's like, here's $40. Can I use the freezer? Oh, yeah, it's right over there.
Yeah, gotcha.
So Rich gets all the meat, stacks it in the freezer, and it's probably been on the runway for 5 or 6 hours.
Yeah.
Just chilling in the sun.
Yeah.
So I get there, it's 10 o'clock. My meat left at noon. It's been 10 hours outside of my care.
Yeah.
All of our stuff, our rifles, our optics, our backpacks, is just laid on the runway. Great. Like, this nightmare is over. We've made it. We go get a rental car. We drive back to Right Air Service and pick up all our stuff that's left all alone by itself. Throw it in the back of the car, go to the hotel, take a shower, eat some food. We survive. This is great. Okay, the trip's over. We get up the next morning, and my plan was to go get the meat, cut it up. The first time I did it, I used Alaska Trophy Express. They just freeze it, you drop it off, it goes in a reefer truck, they drive it down here, you pick it up, and it's in the exact same state as when you dropped it off. Well, the first time I did it, I just dropped off all the quarters, and then you get 170 pounds of frozen ham. Unless you have a commercial fridge, you're not unthawing that under any good circumstances. Yeah. You're going to leave it in the bed of your truck or in your yard or whatever. Whatever you can figure out. Yeah. And then it takes about 7 days to unthaw. It's not a turkey. It's a 170-pound chunk of turkey. So I was like, well, what we'll do is we'll cut it up into muscle groups, saran wrap it, butcher wrap it, and then it'll go in the reefer truck. It'll be frozen. I can pull it out at home, 10 pounds at a time, trim it, eat it.
Yeah.
Way better than my first go-round. So I send Rich to get saran wrap and all that stuff. I get a cart. They lent me a cart. I take it over to the freezer. I open the freezer. The freezer's not cold.
Oh.
When they had stacked my meat in there, Rich stacked my meat in there, he'd put the 2 scrap bags. I guess I never covered what we still had. We had 2 scrap bags, the neck bags. And they were like 100 pounds a piece. There's quite a lot of scraps on Moose.
Yeah.
And we had a front shoulder and a rear shoulder, or a rear quarter. And they had stood both of those up in the freezer. So the shanks were frozen solid.
Yeah.
The scrap bags were soaking, dripping. They had rotted at that point. When I pulled them out, they stank. They were green. And I had looked this meat over. I had trimmed it, all the fat, all the debris, all the sticks, all the hair. Everything was clean. I was laying it out to dry when it wasn't raining, when it was shady. I'd been all over it.
So when did the game warden come? Because that's coming.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So game wardens.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're great.
So I get it all out. It's
Game Mormons. Yeah.
I get it out. It's on the cart, and the scrap bags are trashed. I'm not even opening them. I'm going to take them home and get out of Alaska. No big deal. So I'm starting to debone this meat, and I get a phone call from a 907 number, and I don't remember what the ID said, but I answered, hello. And he's like, hey, this is so-and-so with the Alaska Game and Fish or State Troopers, whatever they call themselves. Where are you? I'm like, I'm at Right Air Service processing my moose. Okay, well, I got a call that you might be in possession of some rotten moose meat. I'm going to come down there.
Yeah.
Great, dude. I'll be right here. So I just went back to cutting it up. Unbeknownst to me. He shows up. He wants to talk. We go over the whole story. He wants to see every meat cache. He wants to see the grizzly bear evidence. Where's all your meat? The grizzlies took it. I show him all that. He's cool with it. And he's like, well, I'm going to be honest. You're borderline criminal charges.
Yeah.
I'm like, excuse me? He goes, you're borderline criminal charges. I was like, for what? And he's like, your meat is long in the tooth.
Yeah.
Which I know what that is because I own horses.
Yeah.
But that means it's old.
Yeah.
He never said rotten.
Yeah.
His terminology was long in the tooth. I was like, okay, what could I have done differently? Well, you need to plan better. Well, I paid a hunt planner.
Yeah.
And I explained to him, we talked to Right Air Service. They said they would pick us up early. Then they told us 12 days. My wife called them 52 times. They would not come pick us
What
up
did
early.
he say about all that? Did he give a shit?
No.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Yeah.
We're sitting here having this conversation, and I'm super perplexed, and I just want to learn how to be better.
Yeah.
What could I have done to not have the meat 12 days in the field? Anything. Give me something. He didn't. He just kept saying, you're borderline criminal charges because your meat's long in the tooth. You need to plan better.
Yeah.
And he's like, where's the rack? Because the rack's still over in a pallet. I was like, it's right over there. And he leaves. He goes over. He checks it. And before he left, I was like, I want you to come back. I still have some questions.
Yeah.
Okay, so he goes over. He checks the rack. He comes back. He's like, you're legal. Where's your hunting license? Where's your harvest ticket? I'm like, they're in the hotel. They're in the bags that smell like death because we were in the woods. I said, but what could I have done different? Like, I had a hunt planner. We planned 18 days. We were supposed to get picked up early. They wouldn't pick us up early. The river's flooded. The grizzly bears came. We flipped the raft.
Yeah.
Here's all of my meat caches. I spent 4 hours building a tripod.
Yeah.
I feel like I put in some effort to try to keep this meat from rotting.
Yeah.
And then to cover, it went to Fort Yukon and set in the sun. And then it came to, they didn't pick me up for 10 hours.
Yeah.
I had no control of the
What did
meat
he
for
say
that 10
about
hours.
that?
Nothing.
Yeah.
It just, you need to plan better. I'm like, but that doesn't help me learn anything. What could I have done to plan better? And he finally said, plan a shorter trip.
Yeah.
That was all I was given.
Yeah.
And then he left. Well, I'm still mid-cutting up this moose, so my hands are bloody and stuff. I haven't checked my phone. I get done. He didn't offer me anything else. He asked what I was doing with it. I told him I was going to fly it home on Alaska Trophy Express. That's why I'm physically sitting here cutting it up. Okay, cool. And he left. So I finished deboning it, muscle group, wrap it. Rich shows up. We tarp it, all that good stuff. And I wash my hands, and I pull out my phone, and I have a text from Larry.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, I just want to check in, see how your pickup went with Right Air Service. I stopped by this morning, checked your meat. It tested like 9.6 pH. Anything above 9.5 isn't fit for human consumption. Please don't dump it. Please don't donate it. I called the game warden to come tell you the next best means of disposal.
Yeah.
That hit hard.
Yeah.
And it also hit hard.
So not only Larry never responded to you, he checked in at the very end to see how the meat was to turn you in, but he never gave you any info in the middle.
Yes.
Okay. He never texted you back?
So I did forget about that part.
Yeah.
When we were crashed out on the sandbar at the log champ, me and Rich are walking around that morning planning our plan of attack, and he did text me, and he said, warm water will do the feet good, boy. That was his response 5 days after the grizzly bear. Hey, what do we do?
Okay, gotcha.
Yep.
All right.
And then, I texted him back. I was like, it's noon. You sleeping in?
Yeah.
Because it was noon when he texted me that warm water would do my feet good. Anyways, we just skipped the last text, the grizzly bear text. Okay, but that was our next communication, that he had stopped by and checked the meat, called the game warden. I guess you could hypothetically know what my meat was.
Yeah.
It's not tagged. It's in a game bag.
Yeah.
And it's at Right Air Service in a cooler with absolutely 8 other caribou because we put them in there that night.
Yeah.
The heads, the racks, there's game bags. I mean, it's full of all the other clients.
Yeah.
Anyways, he didn't call and ask how it went. He didn't let me know he was going down there.
Yeah.
He just said he stopped by, checked the pH, and called the game warden. I didn't even respond.
Yeah.
So we bagged all the meat up, and I read his text. It said other means of disposal. The game warden didn't say anything about that.
Yeah.
He was happy with my plan to take long in the tooth meat home.
Yeah.
So then I go spend $1,000 to get it shipped to Wyoming.
Yeah.
And I get it here. The scrap bags are trashed.
Yeah.
So what do you do with those?
Yeah.
But that was kind of the end of the trip. We booked
They didn't give you a ticket, though.
He did not give me a ticket.
Yeah. Gotcha.
I sent him my harvest ticket and my license when I go back to the hotel, and we didn't hear from him.
Gotcha. Huh. So, obviously, plan a shorter trip was one thing. I can see, I'm trying to look at this objectively from the game warden's perspective. I'm sure he was literally just looking at it of well, since you chose to stay longer, I'm assuming he was just thinking of that was your choice because there's always the probability of the flight not coming in early, like they said.
Sure.
That's about the best I can come up with on that situation. I It is weird to me that you didn't, get a response, I guess, is the biggest thing. Like on when I say that, I can even get around lack of communication before the trip, like
Sure.
a little bit, because people get long in the tooth guiding and outfitting and giving out gear lists or whatever, but especially obviously being green at this, relatively speaking, you're not floating rivers every day.
Yep.
It is strange that, you didn't get any response other than, put your feet in warm water. So have you talked to Larry since?
No. So he sent me that text that day. We get out of Alaska. He called me when I got home, and he told me, "Hey, I saw that rack on your dad's Facebook. That's a nice moose." I hate social media.
Yeah.
I'll send my dad pictures, and
Yeah.
he knows, you can post this. Do not tag me.
Yeah.
So the post wasn't even associated with me or my profile. If you go look at me,
Yeah.
it's not there.
Yeah.
But I guess he was Facebook stalking Birthisel and ended up coming across my dad and
Yeah.
saw it. But he did leave me a message, and I never called him back.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, I probably wouldn't either. Oh, I would have probably called him back because I'm a fucking asshole, so I probably would have yelled at him. And again, like, people listening in, obviously, this is your version when I say that. It's just hard for me to understand a different version on the other end, right? Like, if there was text back and forth and communication and you didn't listen,
Yeah.
then that's too. But your version is he never responded back, so there's really not a second version of this story, I guess. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
To a certain degree, and I always try to look at things objectively. Yeah, I'd be pissed too. I'm reading the text now.
I mean, it's in reach. I only have. It wasn't like I sent a smoke signal and talked to him.
Yeah, and I mean, the thing with the flight, yeah, it's rough with them not flying in early. But at least you didn't get a citation or a violation. That's good. But what would your advice be to anyone listening to this horrible story? What would your advice be? I'm assuming don't book with Larry Bartlett would be one. That would be one piece of advice. And I mean, I've known Larry a long time. I've never booked with him. My dealings with him have not always been great. I get asked about these trips a lot, right? And I don't have a lot of info, right? Because I mean, what I did was, we're ages ago, right? So I don't have any, current info. How long of a trip would you plan?
Well, it's hard to say because when are you going to kill a moose?
Bring that up. Yeah.
When are you going to kill a moose? And back to the hunt.
Well,
plan
if you were going to book again,
I'm
would
not.
you book it?
I will never do a moose river hunt again. But just because he said the creek might take 3 to 6 days, how long do you plan a trip?
Yeah.
Do you do a 10-day trip, and then it takes you 6 days to get to the moose hunt?
Yeah.
And then you have to float 50 miles in 4 days?
Yeah.
To get picked up? I don't know.
Yeah. No, that's a difficult one.
That the group of caribou hunters, they had went with Larry like 8 years before we did. They said it was a great trip.
Yeah.
They had low water.
Yeah.
Their biggest problem was portaging the raft.
Yeah, not.
So, I mean, the river was flooded. That ruined everything. Without the high water, after the river came down, we had a pretty good time.
Yeah.
The meat was old, but if the river wouldn't have been the highest it had been since the 90s, I would have assumed with the river that high, we would have had some conversations. Are you guys sure you want to do this?
Yeah.
There are some other spots. What if you just hunt a lake?
Yeah. Something.
Yeah, like, hey, let's talk about your options here, not you want to go whitewater rafting with a dead moose?
Yeah, no. That is a crazy story. And I mean, when you messaged me, it was pretty brief, right?
Well, I didn't want to give it away.
Yeah, well, and I mean, I just was like, I had, knowing how it can be up there, I was like, yeah, this is probably going to be interesting because you were just like, oh, it was a nightmare, bear came in, whatever. But I mean, it is a different world. When I say up there, anywhere in northern BC, Alaska, Yukon, whatever else, it's a little bit different world. And I don't know, the reality of like you are alone.
Mm-hmm.
Is ever thus when you're there. Like, and I don't think people realize. And when I say that, in your case, you will get fucked, right? There is not all. You don't always get picked up. Storms come in, and you'll hear stories.
I think Big Chino was like 3 weeks. He got stuck.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's fat, so he had some weight to lose. You don't have a lot of weight to lose,
No.
so at least you had your food. What would you say to someone that's looking at doing this? Would you say save money and just book a normal moose hunt?
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking not necessarily go with a guide, but you're going to have to find somebody that's skin of the game.
Yeah.
Like all of our players, Larry, we pay him for the hunt plan. Check. Like he's already paid. He doesn't really care. He already sent you the information. Your drop-off charter, did you die? No. Did you reach your destination? Great. Cool. Okay. And your pickup flight's the same way. Hey, we'll be here on this day. You pay them. I guess their only obligation is to be there that day.
Yeah.
And even if they tell you they can try to accommodate you sooner, that's not the case. And it still blows my mind. The caribou guys were supposed to get picked up the next day.
Yeah.
They hauled them out on our day.
Yeah.
That kind of tells me the next day they were free.
Yeah.
But we didn't have any free days the 12 days prior.
Yeah.
Or, hey, if you guys hit the takeout, we'll see what we can do.
Yeah. Something. Yeah.
Anything, just a little bit. Hey, if you guys make it to the takeout, we do fly trips in there once a week. I don't know, every couple of days.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll see if we can get you. Or if they would have just got the meat. We didn't need picked up. Plan B was just keep floating down the river.
Yeah.
We still had all our supplies, but we had to get the meat taken out, and I don't know, it just ended bad. Left sour taste.
Yeah, that sounded horrible. I'm glad we did the podcast because it's good for people to learn, even if you're not going to necessarily do that kind of trip. It is important when you're up there to prepare that you are your own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of options like drop hunts where they put you on a river and they'll come get the meat. Or it's like an all-inclusive package. The people you pay are the people that drop you off and pick you up and furnish the supplies. Or you bring your own
Going in and out
supplies.
from a lake is another pretty safe bet. Is going in and out from a lake and hunting from that. I mean, because you're at one location, you don't leave that location. Did you guys ever have a bear fence?
No.
So would you have brought one? Would it ever been applicable for this?
Probably not. We were, we had that 700-pound weight limit. We did show up with 680, but that's probably because we didn't eat Twinkies on the plane or something.
Yeah.
It was tight.
Yeah.
It was like 100 pounds a person.
Yeah.
Once you take out the rafts, paddles, you got to have a raft kit to fix self-bailers or if you get a hole.
Yeah.
So we had 100 pounds apiece. You take 18 days worth of food, 2 pounds a day. You got 60 pounds of gear.
Yeah.
You need waders. We take hiking boots too. You could probably skip on that and save 3 pounds, but I don't know where you're going to fit in a bear fence. And I run an electric fence for my horses. I don't have a battery that lasts 18 days.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know what a battery lasts on an
Yeah,
electric
and I don't
bear
know
fence.
if you can do a solar panel, if that's enough. I don't know enough about them. Yeah, I mean, that's a shitty deal. I was curious what this story, how it would transpire, because I didn't know that much, about it. But I've done kind of what you had to do, so I know it can be suck. We were dragging our rafts quite a bit. Yeah, there was a lot of carrying than there was anything else, than there was floating. So
I think the only time we actually hit the bottom was in a set of rapids. We hit a rock, and the typical, we're in your own whitewater, jump out, stand on the rock, don't die, don't let the raft flip. That was the only time we touched the bottom of the river.
Yeah, no, that's crazy. Well, do you have any parting words for this? I don't know. Like you said you would never go again, but I mean, do you have any other advice, I guess, with any of this?
Plan better.
Plan better? Yeah. Yeah, I guess. Holy shit. Well, dude, I appreciate coming over. Justin drove over from Casper, so it was a couple-hour drive. I was actually, when we were coming out, I hadn't heard from you.
Yeah.
When I went in the canyon, I was like, well, we'll be back and we'll figure it out. And then when we were coming out of the canyon, it worked out great because we got here about the same time. I just was like, well, my memory's not good. And so I'm like, well, maybe we'll do it on the, maybe you'll call or, you know what I mean? When I say call, we'll do it on the computer. And so when you got here, I told Amy, I was like, I want you to come back and listen to this podcast. Because I didn't know it was going to be the shit show that it was. But I think I had said, you should probably listen to this. Like, because normally these stories are, you can learn a lot from them. So, but anyhow.
Well, the first thing I told you was, I hate social media. Here's my phone number. Call me if you want to talk.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I haven't had Instagram in 2 years, but I downloaded it after listening to that horror show of the elk hunt you guys had. I was like, well, maybe this will add value to somebody.
Yeah. Yeah. Which one was that? Oh, Wally's.
Yep.
Yeah. I was going to say mine wasn't. Wally almost fucking killed everyone. Yeah. Yep. And Wally's he's a Navy SEAL. Like, Wally's not, fuck around. And I still give him shit
because he never pays attention when we teach the survival classes to the fire portion.
Yep.
And so when he said he couldn't get a fire going, I'm like, I would have got a fire going. He's like, what? And I'm like, dude, I carry a fucking road flare. And he had ordered some already. And I was like, look, when it gets late season like that, because I've been screwed, I pop a 30-minute road flare. You'll get – I will say there's spots where you were at that you still might have some issues with a 30-minute road flare because everything's so wet. But here in Wyoming is not Alaska. Like, you can get shit to dry off. But, yeah, that's interesting. Any gear you would have done or brought, everything perform relatively well other than the liner and the tent?
Yeah. All the gear perform well. Don't pack a solar panel. It's not going to do you any good. Maybe August
cloudy.
Caribou, but definitely not a moose hunt in September.
Yeah, right on.
Yeah,
oh, shit.
I don't want to oversell myself or undersell myself. You know, I live in Wyoming. I have horses. We go backcountry. We go in 10, 12 miles. I'm totally cool here. We don't take bear fences here. We hunt in grizzly country. Like, you have run-ins with bears, all that cool stuff. I've been doing this for 10, 13 years now.
Yeah.
I had no worries, issues. I didn't even worry about the river. I grew up in a boat, owned boats, got boats.
Yeah.
My wife had an incident on the Platte. She was floating with some friends and got washed into a tree, and she's like, almost drowned. I'm like, I don't know how you drown on the Platte.
Yeah.
But
oh, shit, that's wild. Well, dude, I appreciate driving all the way over here to do the podcast, and I'm glad we were able to do it. This ended up being better than I had hoped for, so very learning for everyone. So, again, thank you for coming.
yeah, I appreciate you letting me come on.
Oh, hell yeah. All right, everybody. Plan better, I guess.
Yep.
I don't know what else to tell you, but good luck. Appreciate all of the support. As far as what's coming up, we're going to be at the Western Hunt Expo. I'll be there Friday and Saturday. Luke will be there, a bunch of other goofballs. You can come hang out. And, appreciate all the kind messages and everything else. Everybody take it easy.